Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to review with you my box that I call the Terms, Concepts, and Theories box. In letter 19, Scott Scheper talks about creating this box, but he termed his the Vocab box. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, for me, the term vocabulary was just too narrow of a definition or description for what I needed to include in this particular box. One of the things about artificial intelligence and emerging technologies is that there's a lot of terms that are tied to various theories as far as how to implement it, or change management or strategic planning. It's also tied to a lot of concepts. So I think of terms as being single word definitions, like algorithm. And I think of concepts as terms or phrases that combine more than one word, like machine learning. And I think of theories as something that's an actual theory, like the adaptive structuration theory. And so the vocab box becomes really important because I can use what's in the vocab box in almost any article or any dissertation or even any presentation, because the first thing that every writer knows is that you need to define terms so that everybody is on the same page. And so that's why this box is so important to me. Let's go to my desktop and I'll start walking through it with you card by card. Okay, so here we are back in our Zettelkasten vault, and we're going to go ahead and pull open our drawer for terms, concepts, and theories. Just like the index box and the bibliography box, this has 26 tabs labeled A to Z, and just like index is labeled index and bibliography is labeled bib, I have opted to label this one terms. So if we go down and we thumb our way through tab A, you can see here's a theory. Adaptive structuration theory, and if I click on that card, you can see that I've described the theory and I've written this in my own words, including proper citations, so that I can use this in any article. I do link my citations as I'm writing them because I may choose to include a certain paragraph or otherwise. I also put the reference down at the bottom so that I have it available. Alternatively, I can click here and pull the reference and put it right into the bibliography or in the footnote, whatever the case may be. One of the things you'll notice is that I've exceeded my 275 word limit. And I've talked about this previously, but when it comes to something as complex as theories, I think it's dangerous to split it up into multiple cards because you could get them mixed up. And again, remember, I'm treating my digital system just like I would an analog system. And I would not want to have something like adaptive structuration theory, which is a relatively complex theory, on multiple cards in the event that I were to dump them or spill them, and then I'd have to try to figure out which card goes to which theory, and I don't want to mix them up. And so for me, this is one of those exceptions to the rule, and that my theories can be as many words as necessary to adequately describe the theory. In Scott Scheper's book, I believe he talks about creating an external resource and then putting a card in that would say to, for information on this theory, go here. I'm opting not to do that, obviously, in the digital mode. Let's go ahead and close up that tab, and let's go to D here. So you can see here I have descriptive ethics. But if I look at that card, this is one of those cases where, again, I have done a cross-reference. And this is just to help me. Maybe I come across something and I'm having kind of an off day and I think, oh, descriptive ethics, what was that about again? And I go to D. Well, D reminds me, oh, wait, yeah, it's that whole noun versus adjective and how should I file it? And this actually makes sense if I click on the next tab. Well, first, let's close this one. And then you can see, oh, okay, there's a lot that's going on with ethics. I've got ethical leadership. I have descriptive ethics. I have normative ethics. And so here I have the concept, right? Ethical leadership, because it's more than one word, so I consider it a concept. I have the description. And in this case, this is one of those interesting ones where I found the definition of ethical leadership in the research from Zhang. But Zhang was actually quoting somebody else named Brown. And so I liked how the definition was quoted. It's a good definition. I can see myself using that in future writing. But I want to make sure that I'm properly citing it and that I remember the path I took to get to that. And so I do have a little note here that says it was quoted from Zhang and where I got it, my precise quote, but also acknowledging that Zhang was pulling it from somewhere else as well. And I do this for two reasons. One, because proper citation is really important. But two, I may want to go find Brown's article, Ethical Leadership, A Social Learning Perspective for Construct Development and Testing, and read it for myself. There may be more information in that article that I think is relevant opposed to just his definition of ethical leadership. And then if I look at ethics descriptive, here is where I actually have the information that is tied to descriptive ethics. Now this is one of those cases where I had to look it up myself. I probably just did a quick Google search and said, hey, can you explain descriptive ethics? Or same thing with normative ethics. Both terms were probably used within Zhang, but not defined. And so for right now, I don't have a source for these. If it comes time to actually use it in a research article, I might go into my school's library or another database of scholarly research articles and find a reliable source that actually defines these. But for right now, I have them defined, I guess you could say, for personal use or for personal knowledge. And so that's why there's no citation for either one of these. Okay, so that's how I use my terms, concepts, and theories box. I want to take a moment and switch over to my actual personal Zettelkasten, and so you can see here it's Meadows, and explain this a little bit further and how I use it in action. So as I'm reading a research article, I might see a term used that I just know from personal experience, conversations, or my prior writings. I need to have a definition for it, but maybe that research article doesn't define it. So what I do is I create a new card immediately that I know eventually I'm going to want to file in my terms, concepts, and theories. And so if you look here at my personal, you can see that I have anomaly detection, classification, clustering, computer vision, and so forth. All of these are terms that are used within artificial intelligence or emerging technology conversations, and they've come up in the research that I've been going through, but nobody has yet defined it or provided a definition that I felt was clear enough to share with other people. And so I keep these cards here, almost like a physical stack of cards on the side of my desk, so that if I come across that word defined in another research article, I already have the card there and I just have to fill it in, kind of as a mental reminder of, hey, you need this definition. If I go to my terms, concepts, and conditions, and I'm just going to go into M, and you can kind of see what I mean. So here is machine learning. Machine learning is a concept, and I'll just do Control E there to hide the coding and make it a little easier for you to read. So machine learning is a concept within artificial intelligence. It's actually a subset, and it's used in analyzing big data and analytics, and it's a big investment within artificial intelligence. So it's important to have that term. It's an important concept. But then there's also the machine learning model, which is different. The machine learning model uses different types of algorithms within it, such as supervised learning, support vector machines, decision trees, random forests, and then there's unsupervised learning like clustering and anomaly detection. Now, this description of machine learning model I got from GAN. That was the research article, and so I have a bibliography card for GAN. But each of these were terms that I felt were important enough to need to be defined. And in some cases, the GAN provided the research or another researcher did, and so I've just been filling out the cards. So I wanted to give you a little bit more context of how it's used in a real world environment. So I hope that helped explain how I used my terms, concepts, and theories box, or a vocab box. Keep in mind that I've created this box or series of boxes within my Zettelkasten to serve my personal needs, and I've just decided to share them and make them available to anybody else that's interested in them. You may not want all of these different terms, concepts, and theories. For your case, vocabulary may be all you need, and in that case you can just simply change the name of the file, change the name of the cards, or just leave it as terms, whatever works for you. Or you can create your own. Just create a file that says vocab and then create your 26 tabs, A through Z, if you're choosing to build this out yourself. I find that this box is critical in the writing and presentations that I do. It may not be that way for you. You may also, if you're using your Zettelkasten box for fictional writing, maybe you change it to character descriptions and you put in there the characters that you've created for your book, and you provide a description so that you remember, how you described them as this is what they looked like, this is what they liked, this is what they didn't like. Maybe you want to throw in your ideal client in there, or ideal customer, so that you always remember who are you writing for. The Zettelkasten system is very fluid in that it can be made to work for you while still maintaining that sense of structure and organization. Just remember to be self-disciplined and be consistent in how you do your cards and how you file your system, so that you create that mental mnemonic connections that are so necessary for those future sparks of inspiration and neural explosions. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.